evening, everybody. It's just after 7 on a Monday night, and it's time to go wild. Welcome to the Time to Go Wild radio show here on Halton Community Radio 92.3 FM. We are also live across the internet on ws.hcr923fm.com/listen and on TuneIn. You can contact the show, radio@widnesworld.co.uk, and via Facebook and Twitter.com/TTGW Radio. You can contact us by telephone 01928 835 291 and by text 07716 672 874. Start your messages with TTGW. All messages charged at your standard network rate. I hope you're ready. It's time to go wild. And welcome back. Hope you all had a good Easter. Time to go wild back with you here on Halton Community Radio for another week. I'm Cole.
And I'm Doug.
Well, busy fortnight, wasn't it, in some ways?
It was a very interesting end to the season.
Yes, it has been. We shall cover that in a moment. But this weekend and the weekend before, we had a little bit of hockey. I think I better hit the button.
Yep.
Okay, a roundup of some results that have been going on very recently. And we're going to start with some rec hockey. Back to the 1st of April. Yes, April Fool's Day. Riverside Raiders were taking on the Sheffield City Hawks at your very own Planet Ice Widnes. Riverside Raiders 8. Steel City Hawks 4.
Time to go wild radio, catching up with Riverside Raiders captain Adam Murphy after the Raiders took on the Steel City Hawks. Your thoughts on that game?
Yeah, guys, we came into the game not really knowing our opponents as we hadn't played them last year. So we just kind of went out there and just took it shift by shift just to see how our players went. Our boys work really, really hard in training. We skate hard during training, and that it really proved to the point towards the end of the game where we started, obviously out skating them, and that obviously reflected in the scores towards the end.
Yeah, big scoring game, a good way to get your your summer season off to a good start. So hopefully we'll be able to springboard into the next few games now.
Yeah, certainly. Well, that's what we want to be doing. We obviously want to be working towards our next couple games coming up. We've obviously got the Flintshire Phantoms coming up. I think that's probably our next game towards the end of April. And yeah, we know that they're a strong team. We have played them before, and we think that they're going to be serious competition. We're just going to keep working at it.
Well, for our listeners, your accent, normally we'd hear sort of British accents or maybe American and Canadian accents. So go on, let everyone know where you're from.
Yeah, so from Perth, Australia. Obviously from the east or the west coast of Australia. Moved over here a couple of years ago and been playing for Riverside Raiders ever since.
So yeah, bit of a distance to come and play your hockey. Did you get much hockey over in Australia?
Yeah, in Australia it's quite big. We've obviously got some quite strong leagues in Perth, Australia as well. Obviously, we've got a team currently over at the moment. Our juniors in Estonia at the moment. Our women's teams and male teams are going head to head. So yeah, we got some good talent coming out of Australia.
Well, thanks for joining us, and all the best for the rest of the season.
No worries, thank you.
So the thoughts from Adam Murphy there on the Riverside Raiders against the Steel City Hawks. But still more to come. And in the Elite Ice Hockey League this weekend, we had their playoffs. Their playoff final taking place at the Motorpoint Arena in Nottingham. And the semi-finals on Saturday. Cardiff Devils 4, Fife Flyers 0, Sheffield Steelers 5, Nottingham Panthers 4, after overtime, leading to a thrilling final on Sunday. It was Cardiff Devils 3, Sheffield Steelers 1, crowning the Cardiff Devils Elite League playoff champions for the first time, if I'm not mistaken, since 1999. In the meantime, we also had NIHL Finals weekend for the Final Four down in Coventry. On the Saturday, we had the semi-finals between North and South. So, Semi-final 1, Basingstoke Bison 3, Sheffield Steel Dogs 1, and in semi-final 2, Telford Tigers D1 4, Peterborough Phantoms 1, leading to a final on the Sunday of Telford Tigers against Basingstoke Bison. But before that game, we had the North 2 League winners against the South 2 League winners. And the fixture was, from the North, Sutton Sting 1, from the South, Oxford City Stars 3. So congratulations to the Oxford City Stars on being the NIHL Division 2 champions. In the meantime, we also had the grand final on the Sunday. Telford Tigers D1 0, Basingstoke Bison 4. So congratulations to Basingstoke Bison on being the NIHL D1 champions from their playoffs. But don't forget, there's more to come next week, when of course it is the D2 playoffs. And we're not going to forget, there was an additional game going on the 1st of April.
There was. I went along to have a look. It was the Rob Craig Memorial Charity Game, played between Team Mind and Team Calm. And if you remember, we had Mark Hickson, who played for Team Calm, on the show the other week. The game, to say it was a success is probably an understatement. There was 1,100 people packed into Blackburn Ice Rink, which created a very good atmosphere.
Might have been warm as well.
It was warmer than normal, yes. The hump seemed a bit smaller as well. And they raised a fantastic amount, £7,000.
Very, very big congratulations to everybody involved in that event.
So half the money goes to Mind, and half the money goes to Calm.
Well,
it was a fantastic event, really well worth going to. Played in the best spirit.
Yeah.
Really enjoyable.
So yes, it's on April 1st, though it was April Fool's Day, 2 very, very good hockey games taking place. And yeah, because I was getting the reviews from Blackburn from you over the Twitter feed. So
yes.
So anyone out there who's been listening, if you want to give us a quick shout, mention, or any comments regarding the charity game in Blackburn, you know how to contact us. But I'll just remind you, 07716 672 874 on text. You can give us an email, radio@widnesworld.co.uk, or drop us a tweet or a message via Facebook. The other one that got off to a good start was for our very own Riverside Raiders against the Steel City Hawks. That was a very, very busy game, that one. And now the Raiders really showed how much they've improved. They're almost like a different team to 12 months ago. So I was really impressed with the way they were skating things out. So
I think that all the rec teams coming through Widnes have improved dramatically. I think it must come down to the coaching.
Well, it's the commitment as well of the players. The Huskies have really improved, and a big shout out as well to the Elks on tour. We keep seeing their messages online.
And we were watching last Thursday, I think, the Elks having a practice. So there was a practice on a Thursday evening where the people who want to play can have a go. It was very interesting, actually.
Yes, because of course we still have hockey basics and learn to skate events all going on down at the rink. So check out. Well, I'm not sure if it's either the Silver Blades come Planet Ice. Officially, it's now Planet Ice Widnes, but check out the websites for details. You can probably also find out links through widnesworld.co.uk. Right, I think we better address if this works. Now I'm hitting the wrong thing. Oh no, I'm hitting the right one. Here we go. Bit of news, because the one bit of news we've been waiting for, which you've probably read online, is the outcome of the unplayed games from the league. And I will start with the first one, which is regarding Bradford Bulldogs v Dragons 2, Dragons 2 v Widnes Wild, and Coventry Blaze NAHL v Sheffield Senators games. And the statement from the league is that all games have been awarded 0-0. And the statement from the league manager, NIHL North League manager Gary Dent, is taking into account time constraints, there was insufficient evidence to make an award to one team or another, though it should not be assumed that the LMC allocates equal blame when awarding 0-0. So yes, that's roughly it. There's more on the EIHA website regarding that. So all three of those games have been awarded 0-0, and 1 point for league position goes to each of the teams. The other one is the one where it was the Hull Jets v our very own Widnes Wild, and the league have awarded this game 0-5 in favour of Widnes Wild. And the statement from the league reads, teams are expected to be available to play on all weekend dates during the season given reasonable notice. There was more than 2 months of the season remaining to fit the game following the original game being cancelled. 3 dates were put to Hull on dates when both sides were available to play, and all were rejected. Hull were asked to put forward any 3 dates but failed to do so. And the statement's taken direct from the EIHA website, and all details are available through eiha.co.uk. So what that means is we have our final league table.
We do.
And we actually have, well, before we came on air, Doug's done an extra little league table.
Oh, we have, yes.
But and it makes for an interesting reading, does the mini league table. But the first one, of course, reading from bottom to top, we finish this season with Blackburn Hawks D2 at the bottom in 10th, 9th with the Dragons D2, 8th with Coventry Blaze NAHL, 7th Bradford Bulldogs, 6th the Senators, and then the big fight out finished with the Altrincham Aces in 5th, Telford Tigers D2 in 4th, Hull Jets in 3rd, our very own Widnes Wild in 2nd, and the Sutton Sting we already knew were top of the pile. But
that means Widnes has been second 3 consecutive seasons.
It does. A 5th, a 3rd?
I think it was, yes.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what we were second season. Was it 3rd or 4th? And then, 3 seconds. And ironically, playoffs in every year.
Yes.
Because, of course, in our very first season, that was one of the first times we actually had a playoff competition. And the Wild actually went to that because the Dragons D1 were unable to go. So
we went instead.
Yes. So yes, and so
and interestingly enough, the Widnes Wild are the only team this year to take part in the playoffs as the ones last year. Because Sutton were in D1. So with Telford. With Telford, and Hull Jets didn't qualify.
They were just outside the qualifications. Yeah.
So we can say that we consecutively 2 years on it.
Well, it's going to be the big weekend, of course. So anyway, this mini league table.
Yeah,
it's actually quite interesting.
The mini league takes into account the goal difference.
It's only on goal difference. This is all it's on.
Yes, all on goal difference. Now, working from the bottom up, on goal difference, the Dragons would be 10th with minus 328. The Hawks would be 9th with minus 319. Bradford would be 8th with minus 6. Coventry Blaze would be 7th on 12. The Senators would be 6th with 88. The Telford Tigers would be 5th on 102. The Altrincham Aces would be 4th with 104. And then you come to the top 3. Sutton Sting would be 3rd with 108. Hull would be 2nd with 114, and your very own Widnes Wild would be top of the shop with 125.
And
that doesn't
account for
the the one game where we didn't get any goals awarded.
Yeah. So there's when you look at it, Widnes have actually been the tightest at the back, with conceding the only team to concede under 100 goals.
Exactly.
By a considerable amount.
It was, yes.
Yeah.
So our D and our netminders are very, very frugal.
Yes.
And we'd like to thank all the netminders who've taken part this year.
Well, to be honest, I say a big thank you to all of the players and all the teams who've been taking part all season. And for those of you who've not made it through to the D2 Final Four weekend, I mean, of course, we'd love to see you there. If you do, give us a shout. We'll try and get you an interview.
It has been one of the tightest.
This has been the tightest for me.
It's been brilliant to watch.
Yeah.
You've got, from the Senators upwards, everyone's had a chance to qualify. So your top 6 teams have been in the mix most of the season.
Oh yeah, it's been so tight. I'm trying to remember if there was a graph available, but I can't see it. There used to be one of the options was you could actually have a graph, but I don't know if it's available now. No. But yeah, it's one of the most entertaining we've had. We've had a lot of variety. We've had some very, very big surprise games, and there are teams that you just couldn't count out. I mean, 2 surprise teams this year for me. I'll say my second surprise has been the Bradford Bulldogs, because they have rebuilt over the last couple of years, and then all of a sudden a few things just clicked this year, and they've really started sneaking points off other teams.
We were talking about this earlier on. The thing that changed for me was when they moved one of their players from the left to centre ice, and that really changed. Ever since then, they were harder to beat.
They improved their tactics, and they've been a really, really enjoyable team to watch. But I think to award my team of the league season, it's got to go. And I'm not saying this because I've known the team for a long time, but it goes to the Hull Jets, because for me, they started off very slow, and all of a sudden everything clicked for them. For me, having seen their form over the past few years, even Andy Daintith, in some of his interviews that I've heard, he said that things just started to click this year and everything worked. I mean, where teams were expected to finish in the league, Hull have really outsurpassed, I think, even their own expectations. And equal points with Widnes. It's been ding-dong battles with Hull. That's for me is my award of the team of the season, because that move they had when they had that big winning run as well. Yourself?
I would disagree on Hull. I would say some of the teams this year have been very clever with the people they brought in mid-season. So they brought in players from higher leagues who, for whatever reason, don't want to play higher league anymore, and that's fair enough because they're available to play D2. So the teams, I would agree with Bradford, because they are, not because they've beaten the Wild on two occasions.
I think it is, yeah.
Yeah, one at home, one away. And we would say we didn't play well, but we underestimated them. Something you should never do with Bradford.
Any team. We underestimated the Dragons as well.
Oh yes, but I would say you shouldn't underestimate Bradford, because they always come and bite you. That's why they're called Bulldogs. And mine would be a bit of a surprise, probably Sutton. They came down last year with not really an intention of becoming first, and this year they've kind of walked it.
I mean, I know Sutton have had a right mix of senior veteran players and junior players, and they've played everything they needed to do. So, but in the end, the top. You look at it: Altrincham 49, Telford 51, and Hull and Widnes on 52 points each, and that's how the table's finished. That is the tightest I've seen it from 5th through to 2nd in a long time. So,
and all credit to the Senators, because
yes,
when they came to play us last game of the season, they had a very young squad, and they're really quick.
And they played exactly what they needed to do.
Yes, they knew what they needed to do, and they didn't really change their system during the game.
Nope.
And it paid dividend for them.
Certainly did. Well, we'll have a little breather. I think oh, where's the button? I'm looking for a button. I can't see it. There it is. I was going to play a bit of music. How about a little bit of the feeling? And if you've got any comments or anything you want to say, give us a quick shout, because we love it when you call. Okay, don't forget, you can still drop us messages through all the usual Hindernetti type things and messages on the website. Don't forget, there still might be an own and loan share, but we're not sure. But keep an eye out through all the website for all the news and events that are coming up as the weeks go by between now and the playoffs.
Okay, we've got some games coming up. Sunday the 15th, the MK Falcons play host to the Widnes Wild Women. That faces off at 4:15. On Sunday the 22nd of April, the Manchester Mayhem play at the Widnes Wild Rink, and they play the Kingston Kestrels. That faces off at 4:30. On Sunday the 6th of May, the Chelmsford Cobras play host to the Widnes Wild Women. That faces off at 12:20. And then we have a few picks for the Planet Ice Widnes. On Sunday the 6th of May, the Riverside Raiders play host to the Flintshire Phantoms. That faces off at 4:30. And on Sunday the 27th, the Riverside Raiders again play host to another team, the Sheffield Ice Tigers. That also faces off at 4:30. On Sunday the 17th of June, the Riverside Raiders play host to the Wyre Seagulls. That places off at 4:30. On Sunday the 29th of July, the Riverside Raiders play the Kingston City Knights. That faces off at 4:30. And finally, on Sunday the 5th of August, the Manchester Mayhem play host to the Sheffield Steel Kings. Again, that faces off at 4:30. They're just a few of the games, so keep an eye on social media. Look out for the Huskies on their Twitter feed, because they tell people when their games are coming up. And Riverside Raiders may have games you wish to visit when they're playing away. Right, the second thing to mention is the Widnes Wild end of season awards night. This is taking place on Saturday, 21st of April at Rainhill Ex-Servicemen's Club, Warrington Road, Rainhill. The doors open at 7 p.m. There's a bar and disco until midnight. Tickets are £12 per person. Non-season ticket holders £10 a person. For season ticket holders, and £5 for children. Tickets are available from Planet Ice Widnes from Sunday the 18th of February and from the merchandise table on match night. So obviously now your only way is going to the reception of Planet Ice and get your tickets. The final thing, which is coming up very, very shortly, big build up.
It's only little, really. It's only teeny.
No, it's big for Widnes.
It's
massive.
huge.
It's the EIHA NIHL North to Laidler playoffs, which will be held on the weekend of the 14th and 15th of April at Planet Ice Widnes. These will feature, and I'm sure you know who they are now, the Sutton Sting, the Hull Jets, the Widnes Wild, and the Telford Tigers. There are two semi-finals on Saturday, face-offs at 4:30 and 7:30. The first face-off, the first semi-final, is the Sutton Sting against the Telford Tigers, and the second semi-final is the Widnes Wild against the Hull Jets. The final on Sunday, there's only one game on Sunday, The face-off is at 5:30. There are no tickets available for seating. However, there are some still available for standing. So check the website out to see how many are left. There are initially no day tickets being on sale due to rink capacity. Tickets are available from Planet Ice Widnes in person or over the phone or online. More details from www.widneswild.co.uk. Now, if you are going to this game and you want to support your Widnes Wild, there are also some very nice t-shirts that are available.
Yes, there are. So, yes. Unfortunately, I think the orders are now closed for the t-shirts.
Have they? Oh, I'm very sorry.
Yes, but it's, if you are interested, do check them out. Look at the Twitter and Facebook pages, but I have a sneaking suspicion that orders have now been closed due to the time it's taking to get them all sorted out.
Yeah, I think you might be right. I think yesterday was the last day.
Yeah, but they're very nice. I have actually ordered one, I must admit. Just looking quickly at the Twitter feeds, the last tweet from the Wild's Twitter says there are 16 standing tickets available, but that may well have changed. So if you are still interested in coming along to the playoffs, check out, give them a shout, give them a phone call, drop an email through and find out what's available. Now, I think we better hear from some players, don't you?
Yes, we should.
Because you were a bit busy on Thursday night.
Yeah, Thursday night I visited the Planet Ice Widnes rink, and they were having their first training session after the end of the season, with a view to what we're going to do at the playoffs. So we interviewed a couple of players. It's Doug Brown for Time to Go Wild Radio on a Thursday night. I'm actually talking tonight to Nick Manning. Hi, Nick.
Hi, Doug. How you doing?
Not so bad. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
So I didn't catch you early on in the season. So why did you come back to the Wild?
It was a pretty easy decision, really. It's a great setup, good set of lads, and I was looking forward to being back at the start of the year, and it's been a good year.
And how do you think the year went?
On the whole, pretty good, I think. We've been a bit inconsistent, which has been frustrating. Maybe dropped some points against teams that we shouldn't have done. But it's a good league, tough league. I think you can see that everyone's taking points off each other, and frustrated not to have won it. But second's not too bad a result.
And qualification for the playoffs was obviously one of the major things on the agenda.
Yep.
And we've taken points out of all three teams.
Yeah, I think we've got kind of a good record against all three, to be fair. So we've got to go in confident. I think we're got as good a chance as anyone. Probably not the end to the season that we wanted. A couple of losses and a couple of cancelled games, but as I say, no reason why we can't win it. Good set of lads, strong team, and should be good.
Well, we're actually the only team from last year who qualified this year.
Really?
So that stands us in good stead.
Yeah.
And how do you think we're going to do in the playoffs?
I think four very good teams. It's difficult to say, but as I say, we're going in confident. We've got a good record against all three teams. All in the semis, they're a good team. They've been probably the surprise package of the year, but I like to think we've had the number over them more often than not when we played them this year. So it's about restraining their top line and hopefully doing a job on them, and then hopefully moving on to Sunday and seeing who we get.
Who would you like to see on Sunday?
To be honest, I think Telford are in a bit of a false position in fourth, so I think Sutton and Telford's going to be a tight game. And play whoever you get. Hopefully we get there, and then look to beat whoever's put in front of you.
Because Sutton played a bit of a wild card by getting an ex-NHL player, didn't they?
He did, yeah, and he's seems to be putting up a few points of late, as you'd expect, I guess.
Yeah.
We've got a good team. Look, they're strong in depth. They've got a lot of players who've played at high levels. They're a good team. They won the league. They'll probably be favourites going into it, but I'd like to think that we'll be able to turn them over if it gets to it.
But to be fair, our team's got a few players who played at higher levels.
Yeah, as I say, it's four very good teams. I think you'd probably find that all four teams have that are there this weekend. So it's going to come down to whoever turns up on the weekend.
Have you got a message for the fans?
Yeah, well, thanks for your continued support. I guess it's as I say, it's an incredible amount of support that we get at this level. The bunch of lads are all very appreciative of it, and it'd be great if we could turn up for one more weekend and give us the support that we need to hopefully retain the playoffs.
I'm sure we will, and we'll get it on Time to Go Wild Radio on Monday. Sure. Thanks very much for your time.
Thank you.
Cheers. Hi, it's Doug Brown for Time to Go Wild Radio, and I'm talking to Coach Ollie Barron. How are you?
Not too bad, thanks, Doug.
Right, how do you think the season went?
Not too bad on the whole. Obviously, finishing second for the third consecutive year is not too bad. Obviously, we wanted to finish top, but I think you look at the season on a whole, the league's been really competitive. I think we've won every series other than the Sheffield series, which is a positive. But obviously, where we've slipped up is on some of the, on paper, lesser games where we've dropped points again, similar to last season, which has left us coming up short. But finishing second is not too bad going into playoff weekend. Like I said, obviously we wanted to finish top, but that's done and dusted now. But we're just going to focus on playoff weekend to try and retain our trophy and the success of last year.
That's good. So, with regards to the playoffs, it's Saturday. The first game's going to be Sutton and Telford.
Yep.
And then us and Hull. And we've got advantage. The last line change?
Yeah, finishing second in the league, obviously we play third, first play fourth. The advantage we've got is obviously on our home ice in front of the majority of our fans in a sold out building. Obviously being the home team gives us the last line change advantage. So going into that game, we obviously can't underestimate Hull. I think they've been the standout team that have, it's difficult to say overachieved because they've kept going every year, but I don't think anybody expects them to finish top four when you look at the teams that haven't made it, like the likes of Altrincham and Sheffield, who were both there last year. We know Hull are a very dangerous team, so we have to be prepared going into that semi-final. But our objective is now to try and win that playoff trophy like we did last year. But we can't look anything past Hull Jets because we know it'll be a difficult game. So you have to be prepared in these last two trainings, setting our systems in place and make sure we're ready come game day.
Well, we're the only team to, as you mentioned there, we're the only team to actually qualify from last year. Because Altrincham didn't.
Yeah, I think
Senators didn't. Senators came up short a bit this year.
I think when you look at it, obviously the two new teams to the league, Sutton and Telford, have both dropped down in division. Sutton's obviously got a very strong team. I know most of their guys, and you look at Telford, who have been very dangerous since back end of the year.
Yeah.
So it's been a good league on a whole. Obviously very competitive, and that it's better for the fans. It's better for us as a team because we're challenged every night. We hadn't had an easy night. Arguably the odd D-side game, which were on paper easy, but they pushed us close here once before. So every team will be in a mindset that they can win this title, this playoff title. We have to be prepared. Each team's got their own pluses and negatives, and I know what I need to do to get my team best prepared for that playoff weekend. So we're ready for it. We're looking forward to it. Obviously being at Widnes should be good for the league, good for our club, good for our fans. So it'll be good. It'll be interesting.
So have you got a final message for the fans?
I just want to thank them for the last 2 years so far. They turn up every week in the numbers, and we're looking forward to showcasing our club on that weekend, and hope to see as many of them down as possible again. We're sort of sold out. I think there's only a few tickets left, 20 or 30.
I think even the standard tickets have gone.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to it, and hopefully we can make it a special weekend.
All right, thanks very much for your time.
Cheers.
See you, mate.
Well, some genuine thoughts, comments and feelings from both players, but the general sentiment I think across not just those two guys, but not just the Wild, but from every team, has been a cracking season.
Yes,
and I think we're in for a treat this coming weekend with the playoffs.
It is. It's as Ollie said on that, it's a chance to showcase the rink, what we can do, put on a really good event, and a really enjoyable event. I mean, whoever wins loses. You don't like to lose, but if you played your best, and had a good shot at it, things can happen. It's a one game. You can have someone have a blinder, and it will just change the whole. What happens?
It is knockout hockey. It is playoff hockey. it's not your NHL's best of 7 now. This is all Game 7. This is Game 7 of the Stanley Cup. Every game is your Game 7 or the golf course, and anything can happen. And it doesn't matter which team you support. Adopt a team. And that particular weekend, as it is with a lot of them, you can end up supporting 3 different teams because you're a neutral. You go along. I'll adopt such a team tonight. Then I'll adopt such a team to that game, and then the finals.
Yep.
And we just want you to come along, have a good time, be loud, be proud, and have a really, really good time and enjoy yourselves. And everybody involved is really, really going to make sure it's a good event. And of course, to add a bit of extra spice, but not to put anyone off, because they may get to see it a bit on TV as well. The guys from BASN who make Drop the Puck, that appears on the Made In network, will be covering it for the video coverage.
All right.
So yes, they have they've come along to do the TV video coverage of the event, which is really good of them. So we wish them all the best of luck with their coverage, and hopefully, we never know, might get to see a bit of it on TV for those people who aren't able to attend. But that's no excuse. If you got your ticket, be there and make it a real big party atmosphere.
Oh yes, 3 games of hockey.
So I think we time for this. And now on Time to Go Wild Radio, it is time to sit back and relax and enjoy Mike Marr's Monday Mantra.
Good evening, this is it. The final weekend of the season. The playoffs. We have had 2 weeks of no games, but the intensity of training has only increased. We've been drilled hard by Ollie and worked on areas where we've failed in the past. As a team, the motivation is high and we're all fired up, ready to go in front of a big crowd. We have one goal. We want to defend our trophy. One request to the Wild Ones: bring on the noise.
Join us again next week for more wise words on Mike Marr's Monday Mantra. That's very wise words there from Mike.
Oh, they were.
Yes. Well, just bringing this up because we have a couple of items in news just to cover briefly. And before we discuss things like the mantra and what's coming on, of course, there was the very, very big sad news over in North America regarding the Humboldt Broncos junior ice hockey team.
Saskatchewan.
Yes, and their team bus was involved with a collision with an articulated truck of some sort, which sadly killed 15 of their team members. There's coaching staff, coach driver.
There's a lot of young players were killed.
Yes,
and a lot of players are still injured.
Yeah, and there's a lot of details online. But just before I came on air this evening, someone cross-posted through Facebook there's an umpteen number of things, but this one's featured on the Facebook page of I'm a Hockey Mom, and it's a prayer for hockey boys, and it reads: a prayer for the hockey boys who are heading home tonight to play hockey with the angels in heaven's loving light. A prayer for their mommies who need a warm embrace as their boys head up to heaven to teach the angels how to skate. And that was courtesy of I Am a Hockey Mom through Facebook. And our hearts, everybody's hearts internationally, go out to everyone who's been affected by this.
We always talk about the hockey family. And I know some people might think, it doesn't really matter. It does. When you see NHL teams joining hands in a circle, and it didn't matter which team you were, it was the one I watched, everyone was alternated. So there weren't one team one side and one the other. It was just a circle of family. And when you hear how players like Gretzky has tweeted something. Players who've actually played in the area.
Yeah.
Remember how things took off. It's just horrible. Any loss of life is horrible. But when you have that number going in one
and it's junior
disaster.
players as well. It's the future.
It's not very nice.
And we've had the charity games as well for Mind and Calm. It's people come together.
Yeah.
It's sport in general, and
I think with ice hockey more than anything, it shows that how deep the caringness is. So our prayers and our thoughts go out to all the people out there, and if you are playing and you're playing away, safe journey to wherever you go.
Yes, safe journey to one and all. One more little article. The NIHL Player of the Month for March has been announced, and they are as follows. From the South 1 Britain League, it's Aaron Nell from Swindon Wildcats. From South 2 Wilkinson, it was Aaron Kraft from Basingstoke Buffalo. From North 1 Morley, it was Dennis Bell of the Telford Tigers D1 team. And from North 2 Laidler, it was Nathan Britton of the Sheffield Senators.
And well done to all of those players.
A big congratulations to all of them. Well, we better do this, because I think it's actually the last one of these. It's quiz time, and it's time to recap on the wonders of Team Stripies. And once again, as I say every week, a big thank you to everyone at the EIHA who's been involved with supplying the questions and answers every week, and long may it continue. So, question 1 from the 26th of March, which I think we managed to get most of these on the head.
Yeah, we did, yeah.
According to the EIHA rules of competition for North 1 and 2, how many skaters are allowed on the ice for overtime? And our survey says
3 skaters, 3 out skaters, plus a netminder on each side.
So, yes, overtime, 5 minutes, golden goal. So, question 2, Doug.
According to the IHA rules of competition for the NIHL 1 and 2, if there is a penalty on the clock to Team A and Team B is at full strength at the end of regulation time, what is the numerical strength of each team going into overtime, and what else should happen?
And the answer is
Team A will play 3 skaters plus a netminder, and Team B would play 4 skaters plus a netminder. Teams will go down to 3-on-3 after the first stoppage, after the Team A goes back to full strength.
And the final one, question 3. According to the IHA rules of competition for North 1 and 2, at the end of overtime, and it's still tied, can a player who is in the penalty box serving a penalty take a penalty shot? And our survey says
no.
There you go.
Any players that have been ejected from the game or in the penalty box and their penalty has not expired at the end of the game cannot take a shot.
So a big thank you to the EIHA hashtag Team Stripies for all their contributions to the quiz of the week, which actually I have found really useful and very enlightening regarding a lot of the rules.
Well, it certainly brushes up on the rules, doesn't it?
It definitely does.
Keeps you sharp.
Yes, well, we've had an awful lot of things to cover this week, but the big one, this coming weekend, it's playoffs. We're going to say it again. Be loud, be proud. Come along, bring your shirts, banners, hooters, rattles, bells. Make it a party. Let's have a big party.
Yep.
You know who's there. You're going to have favourites. You're going to know what's happening. So we'll just reiterate the fixtures. The semi-final number 1 is
the Sutton Sting against the Telford Tigers,
and that faces off at
16:30,
with semi-final 2 between
the Widnes Wild
and
the Hull Jets.
And neither one of those is going to be an easy fixture, but that number 2 fixture takes place at
7:30.
Yes, and of course,
I think out of the 2, the second one is going to be the most interesting one to watch.
Well, it's in some ways it's like having 2 games in one, that last fixture, because it It's the game that wasn't played and a playoff game at the same time.
Yeah, there's a lot of things to prove in that last game, isn't there?
Definitely. It's it's too close to call. It really is. I'd love to say I can predict the outcome, but I can't. I just can't.
I wouldn't like to predict either of those games.
No.
Telford can come up with a surprise because they are very competitive, and the Halton Widnes game.
Well,
it's just you can't call who's going to what's going to happen on the night. Who's going to play well? Who's going to?
It's just
difficult.
Plus, it's playoff hockey, and things are often quite different in playoff hockey. It's fast. Everyone knows you just give everything, and I just don't know how to read the game.
No.
So yes, that is where we're coming to now. I am actually going to make a little announcement, because this is a very, very important announcement as we're coming towards the end of the show this evening, because this is the penultimate edition of Time to Go Wild for this series. Yes, we're going to be going on a little break, but we will be here next Monday. I promise you, we will be here next Monday.
We will, yes.
It's the final show of the series, because we have got a reasonably long break coming up and games are quite sporadic and things are going to be quite quiet and probably having a bit of a post-hockey hangover after playoffs as well. Time to Go Wild Radio will be taking a break from the airwaves, so it will be back in July, so don't fret. We'll be looking at what we've got, building things and having the usual mix of talk, music and interesting articles to come back to in July, all nicely refreshed. But yes, Time to Go Wild Radio will be back next week for our final show of the series. So if you've got any messages, shout outs, important announcements, dedications, thank yous, or anything you want to give through to us, send them in to radio@widneswild.co.uk, or you can drop the text through to 07716 672 874, or drop messages through Twitter and Facebook to us, and we'd like to make it a bit of a party edition to get as many comments and thank yous from people to people regarding the whole of the season, because it's been, this show has been a learning curve and a half for both of us.
It has, yes.
It's been a pleasure to put together, and next week will be hopefully a fun-packed show with lots of roundup and events and announcements from what's been going on over the playoffs.
Well, yes, it'll be whatever happens at the playoffs, it's going to be interesting, isn't it?
It is.
Best of luck to all teams taking part. And we know who wants to win. So, come on, wild ones. Make the most noise in the rink. And let our boys know what you feel.
Well, there's a Twitter poll been going on online about which fans are going to be the loudest. Well, in a manner of speaking, if this is a proper playoff weekend, and we hope there's going to be some neutrals from other teams going to be turning up, and so who will be the loudest fans? You know, make yourselves known if you're from any other team, and it doesn't even matter if you're from within the NIHL 2. You can be NIHL 1, you could be Elite League fans, you could be Rec fans. It doesn't matter. Make yourself known throughout the playoff weekend, and be loud and proud, because you're there for fun, and that's what we want to make it, a really, really, really fun atmosphere. There's going to be plenty going on over the weekend. There's 50-50 draws going on. There will be hopefully all the catering's all sorted. We've got there's food and drink and bar events, and so we just want to come and have fun, enjoy yourselves and make the most of it. It's the I think it's the final hockey. I'm not sure what's happening with South 2, if they've got a playoff or not. I will look into it for next week and hopefully give you a bit of a roundup on anything that happens from South 2.
Well, it's definitely the last game in the North. So with that in mind, it's worth very much coming along and supporting whichever team you want to, and just enjoying yourself.
And of course, don't forget, there's still plenty of hockey to whet your palate. We've got para ice hockey And the team in the area, of course, are the Manchester Mayhem. If they're not playing out of Planet Ice Widnes, they'll be playing out of Planet Ice Altrincham. And, of course, your Riverside Raiders, the Halton Huskies will be having scrimmage games of different types throughout the summer. And, of course, there may well also be... Well, we'll keep our eyes peeled for events such as Wreckfest, if that's going ahead this year. I'm not sure. Like I say, keep your eye out on all the social media for all of these kind of other events that are happening over the summer.
Right, just before we wrap this all up, there's the ongoing, as you mentioned, there's a bit of a poll going on who's going to be the loudest fans. And in fourth place, we have the Hull Jets on 2%. In third place, we have Sutton Sting on 7%. And in third place, we have the Telford Tigers on 24%. And top of the shop, we have the Widnes Wild with 67% of the vote.
It is a bit biased, probably because it's on the Widnes Wild's Twitter feed, but
there has been some banter going on between Telford and Widnes all day, so I'm sure some Telford Tigers fans will be hammering away at it. There are just over 12 hours to go on the poll, so get your vote in.
Yes.
So we know people in Hull listen to the show.
We know people all over Nottingham, Bradford, everywhere listen. So yeah.
I'm sure some people from the Sutton's thing will listen.
Yep.
So get your vote in and get your teams up on the poll.
One thing I did watch last night, yesterday afternoon, was the Elite League finals down in Nottingham. They had it on the on the BBC Red Button, and it was very, very well covered. And it was actually a very thrilling game. And I'm going to give a shout out to netminder Ben Bounds, because of course he got his Elite League start at the Hull Stingrays while I was videographer there, and this time he got the playoff trophy for the Cardiff Devils. And they showed the different reactions to both teams, with Sheffield winning it last year in double overtime and their celebration, and poor Ben down on the ice, and then this year the jubilation from Cardiff. But basically a replay of last year's playoff final, and the spoils this time, instead of going to Sheffield, went to Cardiff. So
that's good.
Just seeing that and the atmosphere that was in Nottingham. Well, we might be a small barn in Widnes, but we're going to be as loud, in a manner of speaking, if not louder, I reckon.
Well, it'll certainly be full, won't it?
Yes. We'll play out with a little bit of the Kaiser Chiefs and Ruby for another week. We'll be back next Monday.
We will, and it's good night from Doug.
And I'll be back on Thursday. But till next week, take care, look after yourselves, and enjoy playoffs. Ta-ra.